Begin now, Welcome on the official news outlet of the Liberia Public Radio.com, LPR.
matipi enana monyo kabora kanama yegere matipi enana sono sere kanama pale kwekuna inana para wagi kanama bayeji bo basogo sakati ko para monyo basogo lokruke basogo sakati ko para monyo basogo tumo wana para tumo wana orope otasingo tumo wana para wagi tumo wana amoye bobore kana onana ayama lokolo mwane sikolo mwa yepoza ne kripu ya moleu lokolo toliye bolu suku suku ogere yo omo ya lokolo kete swolo lidoro.
Good evening, folks. Samson Toll, LIBERIA Public Radio. We're going to be rocking it again tonight. We want to thank all of you for tuning in. We say thank you. Still with us tonight. We're going to be having a good, wonderful show here. We're here to entertain you, inform you, and whatever it is in between. Samson Toll, LIBERIA Public Radio. Folks, we're here again to do it again. Wonderful Friday afternoon. Sometimes you go to work and you produce and you feel so happy that your production level it's so satisfying. And forget about the money. Yeah, you get paid and what have you. But when you do it and you feel good, because these things that, especially in my area, these are repetitions that are online. Can he do it? And then you produce it. And so I'm just happy this afternoon. First of all, I want to thank God for giving me the ability to do what I'm doing. And without him, I won't be able to do whatever I'm doing. So I just thought that I'd brag a little bit about it. Anyway, let's go. It's not about me tonight, folks. We're here again to discuss some issues affecting our brothers and sisters. Once again, we want to express our sympathy, continue to express our sympathy to our brothers and sisters that have this tragic incident in their family. And so we cannot stay far away from that. We're going to continue to encourage our brothers and sisters to seek their own faith, allow them to recover as well. And so we will hope that God will continue to take control. Anyway, we will go on, say thank you, my brothers and sisters. And we'll pay a tribute again tonight. Well, I believe it's dua. I think they call it in Arabic dua, where the person pray and pray for the family and the dead and what have you. I will play that again tonight. But let's go on. First of all, let me welcome all of you again. Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio. And we will now go on to our usual broadcasting. And if you read the question out there, it says what's going on with the opposition political party, and we'll be discussing that tonight, because in this type of time you want to know what your leader is about. In this type of tragedy, that's when you know the leader ability to connect. It's not the making noise, blah blah blah, none of that, but the leader ability to connect to those who are suffering at the moment. These are things that stands out in the mind of those that are suffering right now. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, right now. Were you there? And this, if you looked at some of the things that have happened within the last month or so, with our own sister, I believe strongly when she had that incident with Senator Sarah Joseph, was it Sarah Joseph? Yeah, I believe. Okay, these are things in terms of grieved. When somebody is grieving, when you throw your arms around that person will never forget it. They're always saying this. In times of death, that's when you know who the people are. And I believe the fact that the husband passed, and she didn't see people who used to hang with the husband, and they were not there. And I believe one of them was Sarah Joseph. And so to come out now public to try to be no, wham, slap, come. I'm not laughing about the slap, but I just, think about it, folks. I mean, this lady have gone through a lot. And these were people that she lives in a house. She saw people coming in. I'll give you an example before I go on to my show tonight. Just sidebar a little bit. So when I went to Liberia, I told you already, Lawrence is a good friend of mine, brother. So when I went to Liberia, he invited me in the office. And I went down there after doing the teaching afternoon. He said, whenever your class is done, just come on over. So immediately after my class, after afternoon, I drove to the Capitol building, and when I went, he was already down there waiting for me, because we were on the phone exchanging information and what have you. So he was already down there waiting for me. So he and I, he got in the car with me. I drove to, when you're going towards Oro, as soon as you bend that curve right in front of the city hall, as soon as you pass the city hall, there's a restaurant. I don't know the name of the restaurant, folks. Don't ask me, but it's a nice beach area. But the restaurant is in a corner. As soon as you pass this, I call it City Hall. You make a right turn, and as soon as another with maybe 1,000 feet or so, you're gonna be parking. And in there, we went there. This is where he took me for lunch. And as we were eating, I think I told you guys this story before. As we were eating, a few representatives walked in. Apparently, they must have had meetings scheduled at that time. But anyway, while we were eating, I saw my own man, Shesha Grant. I saw Gray, Akara Gray. I saw Flanty Kofa. I saw, and they all spoke to me. He introduced me to these people, and they all spoke to me. And when these people came, in fact, Gray grabbed the beer that he was drinking. That means they were close. You can't just get up on somebody's table and just go grab that beer if you don't know them. Okay, so all of these people, they were close. They came to him. They all sitting down there. We were talking before the meeting started. Okay, and he told me, "Well, we have to go to meet." I said, "Okay, myself, I have to go and finish my class anyway. We'll talk another time." But before leaving, I saw most of these people were around him. So what I'm trying to make up here is that these people were friends. They know him. They know each other. And when the incident happened, when he died, I didn't see any of these people. And I believe it was a big mess. And then after that, now you want to be friend with me. And people like Sir Joseph, my understanding, he's a frequent visitor to that to Lawrence's house. My understanding. And now something happened, they can't see you. And so that's what, in times, the point that I'm trying to make here, in times of grieving, when somebody dies, somebody's grieving, when you put your arms around that person, they will never, never forget it. Never forget it. I give you an incident. I'm not going to call name here, but I will use myself. When my situation happened way back 1908, I was in Monrovia. When I came to Tota, I was pretty much crazy. Let's put it that way. I was going nuts. But a cousin of mine decided the whole time that I was going to be in Monrovia, in Monrovia, that not one day would pass by that I would regret that he made sure whatever that I wanted, food, whatever food that once he realized, and I'm somebody who like his olive, so once he realized that, okay, Samson, because the store was already at my, so every day, Kasali, what do you want to eat? Movie, what do you want to do? Just so that I would not forget, I would not be reminded of what was happening to me at the time. So the whole time I was there, this guy, my cousin, I'm not going to call name here this afternoon, but he was there with me. So those kinds of stuff, you don't forget it. Another person was, and that's why I'll call him because he's dead now, Thomas Kuomba. The whole time when I was there, he was there in the evening, there, because we knew each other before anyway. So those kinds of things you don't forget. You don't forget. They stay with you. And so here tonight, my discussion, folks, is going to be surrounding this issue with the opposition and their whatever it is that is happening with this tragedy. Okay, let's go on. Samson to right there. Oh, I have not shown Dr. Weir. I've been talking here for almost 10 minutes. I'll show my president. Yeah, what kind of something? What are you doing there? Are you serious, folks? That is Dr. Weir, president of the Republic of Liberia. I'm serious. Yeah, that your president too. Hey. But anyway, let's go back. So I'm saying this is Dr. Weir. Before I go on to my main topic here again tonight, folks, let me go on to the other subject matter here. Okay. All right. But that's Dr. Weir. Another video that I'm going to be showing you is a video during the election. In this video, I will continue to show. People say, but what's the purpose of you continue to show this video? Folks, and the reason of me showing this video, I explained it, and I'm not going to get tired explaining. During the election, Dr. Weir and his people were campaigning all over Liberia. But he decided, this particular video, for me, it seemed to me, he decided, and I said, it seemed to me, because I wasn't there, and I wasn't reading his mind, so, but I can interpret, I can speculate, I have the ability to do that, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. By the way, if you look at the video, it seemed to me that Dr. Weir decided, look, you know what, my people been suffering a lot, some been walking these mud, let me try my best, because here's the reason I'm saying this. He has car, he didn't have to go to this particular spot. Even if he had gone there and then the road is cut up, he can just turn around and go back. He was going to win the election anyway. So he didn't have to do all of that. But I believe strongly that he decided, look, I'm going to test what my brothers and sisters have gone through in this place. When they're walking and you hear the road cut off in Liberia, people walking in the mud, let me experience that. And folks, this is the experience that I will continue to play it and I will continue to bring it up. But lately though, That particular spot, now I don't know exactly what part of Monrovia that is, but that particular spot, I bet you if you're gone there now, that spot has not changed. And this is one of the reasons that I'm continuing to play the video for. Perhaps one of these days, who knows? Who knows? The president said, man, I got nothing to do tonight. Let me just flip the channel, and out of a sudden, something told video come on. Oh, he's showing me? Oh, I got to do something about that area. You never know. I'm speculating as well. Let's watch the video. Samson told LIBERIA Pop Radio.
Let's make sure you do that same information you can hold. You don't hold it stay. I don't need to show the rod. You must stay. We're going to junior that before. No, I beg you.
You know, one other thing I want us to pay attention to here is this. If you watch that video, folks, and you can tell that he's very much, Dr. Weir, that is, that very much relaxed, very relaxed. Why is that? I think at that point, at that particular point, perhaps he realized, look, and because he didn't even know that you were going to win, but I knew he was going to win. I'm not even going to say one or two things about it. But perhaps he was thinking, if I win, I will make sure these things are taken care of. And now we're pleading to Dr. Weir to see those roads can be connected. You do not need asphalt or what we call quota bike. You don't need it on the interior road. You can do paint. You can do chip and seal. Chip and seal, and I'll continue to put chip and seal because it's very cheap. It's very durable, and the strength is unbelievable. The only thing you need in chip and seal, especially in Liberia, is to maintain the road, because you're talking about dirt, and it's because eventually as car drives over chips and seal, the rock loosen up, but you need to make sure that those things, they in an area where the rock loosen a lot, you come back and just spray the oil and the binding a compound and put some more rocks on it, and that's all you need to do. Okay, but I will deal with that. But folks, that was the stuff. Let's go to the show that I have tonight. Welcome. But before I do that, let's do one more music. Hey, don't disrespect me, Samson. Please don't disrespect me. I'm here to play the music.
Don't disrespect me because I get on papa. You will not disrespect because you see me the buffer. Don't disrespect me because I get on papa. You will not disrespect because I will on donga. We not broken, but we can make it happen. We not millionaire, but we can keep it popping. We not broken.
Yes. Don't disrespect me. Don't disrespect. Let's have fun together. The question, Samson told, who disrespecting you? Anybody able to disrespect Blaku? You are you going crazy? You able to disrespect Blaku? Elephant skin, Kunabudale. You able, you able. You able. But anyway, let's go on. Let's go on, folks. I'm going to be dealing with I'm trying to poke some fun and things there because the subject matter tonight is very interesting and very, very much poignant as we're going to be going on to, especially what is happening in our country right now. The question tonight is, how do you rate the leadership of Dr. Weah in terms of this recent tragedy? How do you rate him? Because here's the thing here. Immediately when Dr. Weah was speaking, the first thing that I read was that he was going to rebuild. Good. Second thing that I read, he sympathized with the people, that this is a tough time. Good. Third, I saw Dr. Weah. I read that he was at a funeral and a gravesite. For me, it seemed that he has put his hands around the bereaved family. So in terms of politics, and I don't mind doing that here tonight. You say, oh, Mr. Toy, too soon. Yeah, please, I understand that. But this is exactly, that's the prison. Everyone going to look in at from this point on. The political prison of what happened with these leaders. Okay? So for me, the way, and you say, oh, but you are going to rate him high anyway because you always say Dr. Weah does say, well, when he even get PhD, it's not the point. You know me. If I feel like Dr. Weah and his people are not doing something that they're supposed to do, I will speak up. You know me. But I want to be truthful. Right now, be honest. Be honest. Dr. Weah has engaged from the very beginning. He has expressed sympathy from the very beginning. So for now, is that his way of engaging those who have been affected by the tragedy. They will always remember the president was there. They're not going to forget that. And this is the point that I'm making. So as far as his leadership is concerned with this tragedy, as far as I'm concerned, I think I'm giving him a little bit high mark. Because this is the time as a leader. He must be young, very young, but he's the father of the nation. And if the nation children are crying, you want the father of the nation to stand to say, my people, I know they think hurt you. Your boy, you're gonna cry. Because you'll continue to cry, some of you will get sick, then we're back in the hole again. If you'll continue to cry, some of you will start getting headache, then we're back into here again. If you'll continue to cry, these children, they're not the only children you'll get. You got other children also. I know it's painful. But you'll continue to cry, then how are we going to put our arms around each other and try to take care of the living? Of course, he didn't say all of that. But his presence alone, you can interpret it any way you want. So from that perspective, I give him a high mark on that. However, you can now go and if you agree now, if you accept me looking in the prison of a political stand in Liberia, then I would like to go. If you don't stop me, if you don't say no, Mr. No, we can't deal with politics right now, and if you accept me now praising Dr. Weah and his standing with this tragedy, then you should also allow me to continue to look through the political prison with respect to Dr. Weah and his leadership, and Dr. Weah and the government. And from that perspective, folks, let me engage. Sam Cinto, LeBron Public Radio. So if you agree, as I stated, that we're going to be going into it, then let's go a little bit into that. Okay? I'm an engineer, a civil engineer to be specific. Though my specialty right now within the last 500 years or so is being rolled. But before that, here in California. When I got in California, the first job I had was in San Francisco. I was working in building design, high-rise building design. And before that, I worked in another area, Pleasanton. It's also here in California, where I did a lot of parking lot design. And before that, in Ohio, when I was in Ohio, immediately after school, I worked for another company that was strictly into water and building. And so my interest into building was very high. And in fact, during my college day, and that's one of the things that I love, the fly-by-night colleges that some of us ain't got 5 we went to, because they make sure they give you the real depth of engineering. They make sure you understand how engineering is connected, especially civil engineering, how it's connected to the other branches of engineering. And so my study at the time really gave me a huge depth into engineering. I can do a building right now and bring in the electrical services into that building and be able to distribute the current within the whole building. I can do that because I studied that. I can also take water from outside, bring it into the building, and put it high, right, put the water all the way to 10, 15 floor and still be able to maintain the pressure. Because why? I studied that. I can also do air conditioning, take the air duct, bring it into the building, bring the air from outside, circulate the building air, and still be able to produce cool air. Why? I studied that. So, folks, I am, I do roll, but I'm all over this place, to be honest with you. So I do know about building. Now, one of the interesting things when you're doing building design is this safety first. Safety first. But then the kinds of safety aspect they allow building designer here in the United States to be able to get to before they approve their project. It's not the kinds of safety activities they have in Liberia. So I'm not trying to compare them. I will not do so. However, safety, for human safety, anywhere is safety. You make mistake in Liberia, you die. You make mistake here in the United States, you die. Safety is safety. There's no two-way, three-way street about it. Okay? So let's go into it. So when you're doing a building, and I will give it to you as a designer first. Then after that, then we can go into what was the government owner responsibility from my perspective, folks. And I told you already that if you allow me to have to say Dr. Weir position with the tragedy, I'm giving him a mark. Then you should also, and because I'm looking at it now from a political perspective, I'm viewing this tragedy from a political perspective now. Then we must also, once we agree we're going to do that, then we have to go into the whole area surrounding the political activities with what happened with the building and what's happened. So let me go. But before that, let me give you a design perspective. Okay. So the building itself, if you look at the pictures from those buildings, okay, and okay, I'll just give you one example, and then you go and look at one of the pictures. There was a burned out building. The building is burned completely. The concrete bricks and everything melted pretty much. The heat in that building must be extremely high. Extremely high. Remember, here's the thing that you have to remember. Glass is made out of sand. But what do they come out of it? They heat it up. Heat the sand to a particular degree, and then it melt. So sand, all the kind of things, although material, the fire can do just about anything, damage anything. Steel, concrete, just about anything. But if you look at the center part of the building, the hallway itself, just by looking at it, the hallway is no more than 3.5 feet wide. That hallway that you look at, when you look at that particular, and I'm sorry, I don't have the picture to put up here. If you look at that particular picture of that hallway, and also if you look at the room as they're divided. Now, I don't have tape measurement to go and measure that, but just from the corner, one of the room, the bricks burn out, but not all of it. And each of those bricks in Liberia, okay, they're 8-inch by 4-inch, most likely, or 6-inch. But they lay those bricks on what bricks lay are called structures. Okay, and I'm not going to go into it. But those bricks are laid based on structures built laying. Okay, structure is where you have the blocks running longitudinally. Okay, the header is when you have the face of the brick facing you. Where the face of the brick is facing the hallway. So they build these things. The building, if you look at the bricks, they build it by structures or structure. Now, in the brick building business, okay, when you see the bricks layer, you take the first brick and put it down. Before you put it down, you put mortar on it. And on top of it, you put the bricks, then you put another. Those mortar that connect those bricks together, you have to calculate that. I don't know if they do that in Liberia. In Liberia, when I was growing up, I worked as a bricklayer as well. Folks seem to have done a lot. Unbelievable. But I did a bricklaying business with another guy over there at the American Embassy. And one of the things they would do, and if you watch the bricklayer, they have level. So they put the mortar down there and put the bricks on, and then they tap it. And then they put a level on it with the next bricks so that at least it will be level. When they do that, the access spill of the mortar, they use the trowel to take it out. Now, the point that I'm trying to make here is this. And I'm not trying to say these people are supposed to do all of the calculation. No, far from it. But when you do that, when you go outside of the bound of actual building construction and you start improvising, number one, you're going to be out of standard. Number two, the building itself might not be as strong as it's supposed to be. Okay, the mixed design of the mortar itself, they require certain amount of water, cement, and sand. All of those quantity in there, they have to be done properly. In Liberia, we don't, and I don't blame them. They got to build. They got to build. So I'm not telling them to go and follow that route. That's far from it. Okay. The point that I'm making here is this: if you put a mortar in there that's supposed to be between the bricks and it's so thin because you don't want to spend too much cement in it, you want to save, and then you decide you're going to use a little bit here, it's still going to bind, but it will not take much to fall. Okay. Another thing that when you look at those bricks over there in Liberia, here in the United States or even other places, they have metal binder between the bricks. So when you look at this earthquake, and I live in an earthquake state, but earthquake when it happens and shake the building, you see sometimes they face what they call firestone break. The firestone break is they are not low bearing bricks. That's for sure. Don't say the people put low on and no, they're just there for decoration. They got the real low bearing bricks underneath and behind, and they put the firestone bricks on there. Okay, they're supposed to be very thin. All right, but the point that I'm trying to make, when the earthquake shake the building, you can see the whole bunch of bricks falling down together because they're binded. And sometimes you find between the bricks themselves, after setting a level, maybe you go about 4 or 5, then you put the metal. The metal have brackets that bind these two structures together. After 5 structures, You put the metal on top of the bricks, and then you put mud on, put the concrete. But that bind the top layer now to the bottom layer. These things are not happening back home, and I understand that. That's fine. That's not my point here tonight. Okay. Now, what I want to talk about, I'm just giving you all of these things as a building. If you have a building and you expect people to congregate in that building, the safety level must be high. Okay. So another thing that needs to be demanded, I mean, people should make sure when you have those kinds of buildings, sprinkler. Here in the United States, when I was in school, there was a book that I was reading. They have a contractor. He decided he wanted to cut corners. So what he did was he went and bought the sprinkler heads. And when you go to some of the department stores and things, you see the sprinkler sticking out. That's the hair. The actual pipe itself is inside the ceiling. You can't see it. The pipe are usually maybe an inch diameter. Okay, but it's full of water. That's for sure. Okay, but this guy decided he's just gonna go and buy the sprinkler head and stick them up. And he measured it. They followed the blueprint. But there was no pipe. So eventually, when the people started inspecting, they found out these things, but as soon as you shake it, it fall down. I said, but what's going on? They found out the whole building, there was no pipe. So that contractor got kicked out, and it started all over. It was in our book. They called it the book that I was reading about building service system. Anyhow, you have to demand these things. You have to demand these things. You can't just put up a building and say, yes, thank you, that's it. No. Yes, another thing I want you to understand here tonight. When I was working back in the 70s, late 70s, real late 70s, I was working at the Ministry of Education. And one of the things they used to do for the Muslim community, they would come and register with the Ministry of Education to get grant for schools. I was able to deliver checks to most of there was another school in Corway, I delivered check. There was another school across the bridge, I delivered check. I think I did that about 2 or 3 times. I don't even know if these schools still exist. But who was watching? Let's go into this building here tonight. The building, if you look at the building and look at the fire, another thing, and I will touch that later on. If you look at the fire was so intense. What was the reason? What was fueling that fire like that? Was it ceiling tiles? What was fueling that fire? What was the blaze going through all of these windows like that? What was the fuel? What was burning in that building? It can't just be the zinc. So those are things people need to watch. They need to look into. Okay? Another thing I want us to look at here as well. The building itself. Okay? The building itself. And I've been, like I said, I was in Monterey quite recently. I saw my sister's own building. And when I got into my sister's building, I started looking around because as a engineer, these are things you look for. Because I never did any kinds of serious engineering in Liberia before until that time. So I wanted to understand the type of building material the people were using. I wanted to understand what was some of the material that people will use. So in Liberia, most of the things they do is this. In fact, sometimes some of the building, when you go around the building, you see pipes sticking out. The pipes are supposed to be within the bricks themselves. They're sticking out. Water pipes. And sometimes they use plastic pipe, PVC. There are certain times that PVC are required. There are certain times you have to use ductile iron. I'm not too sure what they use over there. But certain things require certain material. And I'm not going to go into that. But most of these things are not happening in Liberia. When I was there, I stopped at a construction site one time, and the construction site immediately on I call it Tottenham Boulevard. Immediately, as soon as you cross SKD Boulevard, as soon as you pass it, there's a big store they were building on your right hand side when you're going towards Monrovia. So I decided to stop because what interested me was the way they park. They don't even have parking lot. Forget parking lot in business in Liberia. That one is not even something I want to touch about. But what interests me, what made me to stop was the way they were laying the parking lot out. Number one, I thought it was ridiculous because the people down on the other side of the building going to receive all of the water coming from that parking lot and even coming from the street. They're going to be draining. They're going to be draining straight into their area. And I said, well, let me go look at it. What are they have pipes over there? And there was no pipe. But that's not the point. When I went and what I saw in that building, the electrical wires, the wiring system, the gauges, the folks, these are things that we have to look at. The gauges, the wiring gauges, the gauge that is bringing the main circuit from the block. I mean, when you bring it into the building, the one that stick on the wall. Say, where's your breaker? Is right there. They are setting gauge, wire gauge. Most likely what I saw was like a 220 gauge coming out of there. And you want to tell me out of that, in the building, I think it was a 2-story building. And you're going to put that 220 in that to supply the rest of the building. Why everybody in the building, you see, this is like someone Samson too. I'm enjoying myself right now. I just feel like I'm back in class. Anyway, why if everybody in that building decided at once they're going to turn their lights on the same time? You know how much demand that is? And you're going to give me 220 wire. Can a 220 wire stand that? I don't think so. And the cording around the 220 wire that I watched, that 220 wire most likely from China. Because the cording, usually when you go into these wiring store, when they give you the gauge, they tell you the cording as well. And the cording is that little rubber stuff they put a wire. But before that, inside that rubber that they bind over the wire, they put certain cording in there. And when I look at it, first thing, and the people were very nice to me. They didn't kick me out. I look at the wire and peel the stuff like that, and I look at it, and I just shook my head. I said, this is a trouble waiting to happen. Okay? So most of the time, when these people are building, let's go into the government responsibility now. Like I said, folks, I'm going to do my best here tonight. I'm going to do my best. Let's go to the government responsibility. But from what I saw in Monrovia, the government, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to construction in Liberia, they have nothing. I don't believe that they are engaged. I'll give you an example. When I was there, the guy that took me to Liberia, he had a concrete truck and was running concrete business. So right at the bottom of airfield, okay, where the airfield, they were building the water and sewer were building some sort of a station, a pump station or substation. And we have to pump. We have to pump the concrete at night. So I went in with the guy. He and we got there around about, say, 11:30 at night. So when I got there, I saw them having these steel sticking up. And they were using the steel to braze some of their form. Form is the wood, the plank they use, and they can pour the concrete in so the concrete can not spill over. So the form that they were using, even their ties, we got a long way to go, my people. The ties they were using to tie these form together. The tie, usually when you put ties in between form, all you have to do, take a hammer on the other end, because when you finish, you take a hammer on the other end, twist it, and the form's supposed to snap. But guess what kind of Samson too. When I'm thinking about it because I had a conversation last night with my buddy, and he said, "My man, you better hurry and get out of here. They play now, you play so." Okay, but guess what they were using? coat hanger. Metal coat hanger. How strong? Those of you that have metal coat hanger, just shake it like this. Bend it 1 or 2 times. It breaks. And that's the one they were using to tie the form. A form that was there for the substation, water and sewer substation. Okay? That's besides the point. Yes. I sometimes I laugh when I look at these people the way they behave. I laugh because these things, they are many Liberians that have the ability to recognize these things and try to have these things resolved. Okay, let's go on. So when we got there, we decided they were going to be pumping. So, but before, here in the United States or anywhere else, you have what they call tailgate safety meeting before you start any project or before you start any construction. You discuss the safety aspect of the work that night or whatever time it is. Who's going to be where? Because when the construction is happening, the trucks is moving, backing up, the sound, and people can get distracted very easily, and you can get killed. So your best bet is to have a meeting with the supervisor, and you say, okay, this is your job, what are you going to be doing tonight? I'm going to be pouring, holding the pour machine and be spraying it, number one. Okay, what are you going to be doing? We're going to be down there trying the whole area. Okay, what are you doing? Well, we're going to make sure we have the pump, the vibrator and vibrating the concrete as we're putting it in. So all of those people that have these different aspects of the project doing what? You have to identify them. So in case of accident, you know exactly that person is supposed to be point A. And if he's not there, then you know you have issues. So anyway, when we got there, I recognized first thing they were wearing the vest. And the vest they were wearing, they was out of style. If the vest was completely out, they were not even supposed to be wearing that. Okay? But I'm not going to go into that. So anyway, I decided, look, you know what, guys? In order for us to do, let's have a safety meeting. So one of the inspector from public work, what do you mean by safety meeting? I said, let's discuss what we're going to be doing here tonight. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. They brought the Chinese people. We started talking. One of the Chinese men that can speak good English a little bit, he will interpret to the rest of the group. And we have a discussion. And they were happy after the discussion that they never had that before. And one of the things immediately before the first concrete truck came in and we started pumping, one of the things was I wanted to make sure all of the steel that was sticking up, either they cover it up with rubber plastic cover or to take that out. Because these things were pricking out, they were sticking out. If you fall, it will pierce your stomach or pierce you. Those are dangerous stuff. You don't have them sitting around on a construction site sticking up. So I said, do you guys have a plastic cover there? They didn't. So I said, those things got to go. If you want to brace your form, use wood. You can't use a steel sticking up. Why somebody fall? And you know, construction site, it's a mess. You can fall anytime. And I insisted that the public works inspectors make sure they go around the building, make sure all of these was removed. And they did that. The point that I'm trying to make here is this. If the government does not have the ability or capacity, they have to get people to come and teach. You don't need to be in Liberia and be minister. You can teach. You can show these people how these things are done. Let's go back to the building. Samson told Liberian Public Radio. Let me do one thing here before I come back.
Don't disrespect me because I get on papa. You will not disrespect because you see me in the buffer. Don't disrespect me because I get on papa. You will not disrespect.
So when you see some of us walking around, when we get to your community, when we get to a gathering, we sit down quiet. Don't think, hey, we're going to marry yet. No, some of us, we know our own little bit. Let's go back to the building. The building that I was talking about earlier, okay? So the building that I'm talking about, okay? So they supposed to have all of these things are in place. They're supposed to. But let them show the latest inspection record. Okay, let's go back to the building design itself. I got sidetracked a little, but I'm just showing you some of the things that happened in Liberia when I was there, some of the things that I saw. Okay, safety for them, it doesn't mean anything. It's the mercy, because of the mercy of God that our brothers and sisters continue to survive. On Tottenham Boulevard, when I was there, they were building some sort of a guarded waterway or something like that, and they have all of these steel sticking up. And guess what? Liberia, we got a long way to go. These young kids coming from school, elementary school, instead of waiting to go on the other side, they were jumping over. I couldn't believe it. They were jumping over these steel rods sticking up. They ain't got no cover. People were jumping over they were jumping over the gutter, but inside the gutter they have these steel. If you fall, you're done. If any of these kids fall, they're done. Because they're embedded into the concrete underground. So they're sticking up. They're already tough. They're not going to bend. But anyway, let's go back to the building. So when you do this building, okay, in building design, let's go to the design a little bit. In building design, and those of you that have gone to these functions and what have you, or even here in the United, when you enter the elevator next time, they will tell you the weight of the elevator. They will tell you how many people are supposed to be in that elevator. Okay, they're there. And those people have to maintain it in order for them to have a certificate. If you go into a gathering, into an auditorium, usually on the front of it, it tells you how many people that are allowed in that auditorium. Have you heard people say the building was more than capacity? They're violating the law. Because in building design, you decide, okay, I'm going to use this. I'm going to put the size of this. And in this particular, the size of this. How many, the book is there. They tell you, based on the size of these rooms or whatever, they tell you how many people have to be in a particular, living in a particular square area. You can't have anything more than what is required. I doubt it if they do that in Liberia. So if you don't do that, where is your bathroom compared to where the kids were living? How many bathrooms you have? Because the bathroom and the straw in each of these bathrooms also coordinate. They're supposed to be based on the amount of people the building have. Okay. The entrance of the building, how many doors do you have? And how do you open the doors? Those are very, very critical. Take for example, you have left hand door, and you have right hand door. Now, if you're coming in a rush area or rush situation, and you push the door, okay? You push the door. Which way you want that door to go? If you want out, do you try to open the door this way, left? Or do you try to open it this way, right? What do? You try to push the door. That's just common sense. But most of these doors back home do not open from outside. The only door they use to open from outside are those doors that are the metal door that are there to protect the shops and what have you. And the only reason why Samson told folks, I got to laugh. And the only reason why they do that because they have no choice. Because you're not in a building so you have to open it this way. That's why they open it from the pole towards themselves. Because they can't push inside. Because between that and the wall is really maybe about a foot. So they can't push inside. They have to bring it outside. So the point here is this. A building, next time, those of you that are in school, go to some of these schools and you will see how these buildings, doors are open. Okay? And you'll see. They got some that, I'm not worrying about the technology and what have you. You got some that are sliding and things that's not what I'm talking about. But in Liberia, where you have wooden doors, open it for the people to push outside. Push outside. They push it outside, they run out. But you have somebody. I'll give you a story. When I was real grown up boy in Montreal then, I was supposed to be going to GW, but sometimes in GW, instead of going, I was going to afternoon school. I don't know why I told my mom I wanted to go to afternoon, because I wanted to be, because if she sent me to morning school, I will not be able to go to Roxas Cinema in the afternoon. I won't be able to go places, so I will be from school. I'm coming home. No, I want to go in the afternoon so I can cut class and go to Roxas Cinema. Samson too. So I told my mom, because she bought me Oreo and things like that. So I told my mom I want to go to Jerry Gibson, but I want to go in the afternoon because I have no other. Not that I was working. I never helped her to cook. I never helped her to go sell bottles and things like that. When she sell these bottles and buy me uniform, I never helped her to do. I didn't even help her to clean the bottles, let alone go sell. So I don't do anything. I just come play on the beach, play bread, the whole day, fighting. That was it, BTC. But anyway, the point here is this. One afternoon, a cut class, going to Roxas Cinema. And as soon as I hit Broad Street and I think, is that Macklin? No, not Macklin. Broad Street, folks, please forgive me. I've been out of that place for a very long time. But the road that take you to Egypt Raw, that street that take you to Egypt Raw, whatever it is, Lane Street. Why am I forgetting? Lane Street. Isn't that Lane Street that take you to public work? Lane Street. When I hit Broad Street and Lane Street, I heard a commotion coming from Roxy. And those days when you hear commotion, you don't run away from commotion. You want to go see what the commotion is about. So we started running there. There was a fire at Roxas Cinema. Pregnant woman died that particular day. And the building itself, looking back at it, if you enter those days when you go into Roxas Cinema, let me make sure that my memories are still fresh. When you go upstairs, you go upstairs from the entrance, right there, you walk like this. And those of you that play football, Barrow, y'all know what I'm talking about. God, that player can go there. You go like this, you enter like this, then you go upstairs. Then you make a right, and then you go up on the last floor before. When you go to the last floor, you make a left. When you go to the last floor, you make a left, you're going to the pool section. You make a right, you're going to the movie hall. But the door to the movie hall, because my cousin used to work there too, the door to the movie hall, you open it when you're coming in, you open it, you bring it towards it, which is correct. But it was narrow, small. So when the fire happened, people were rushing. You can't have 5, 6, 7, 8 people trying to go out at the same time. You're going to create a bottleneck. And what happened to the people that are frightened, that are still in the movie hall? They're rushing because the fire was on. The fire didn't kill the woman. Stampede killed a woman, pregnant woman. Okay? So the point that I'm making here is this. At this stage, this day and age, we should have these things already put into place. Everybody all over the world are committed to these kinds of design procedures. There's no reason we should be behind. No reason. I don't believe that building have any kind of building sprinkler system. I don't believe that. If you're going to have a building that is of school, I don't care whether it's Muslim or Christian school, but a school where children, future leaders, were going to be congregating, all of the government apparatus with respect to safety must be employed at that particular area. What kind of step do they have? In fact, do they have any? Here's another thing here, folks, since I'm on a safety business tonight. Interesting thing that is happening in Monrovia. Liberia just coming out of civil war. They have amputees everywhere. But go on their sidewalk, you will not find ADA ramps. You know those ramps where when you're crossing, they valid, then they push up, then you can ride your wheelchair? They don't have them. I never saw them. They did, I didn't see it. What kind of step the school had? Okay. How high were these steps? The threads of these steps, how high? Those things are all part of safety. You can't just get and start building. You can't, and you shouldn't. The government, this, folks, is what I'm talking about, the government now. The government of the Republic of Liberia, after this tragedy, should consult the public works, specifically those that are in the wagon of leadership with respect to the public safety,